share some timely insights on what could happen if you don't embrace AI today. Please welcome Marc LaFleur.
All right. What is up, everybody? So listen, I absolutely love talking to real estate agents. Your guys' energy is out of this world. But more importantly, I love talking to top performers. I'm a founder, I'm a startup kid myself. I like talking to winners, okay? You guys get it. You're actually the type of people that care about doing better and want to succeed. And accountability is also important to you guys. So you guys take notes, you listen, you apply, you take action. It's the best crowd. So my job here today is to explain to you guys why you should be using AI, all right? But before I get started, I gotta be transparent. I'm probably one of the only people in this room who has never sold a home. I don't come from the real estate space. So you're probably wondering, why do I get to be here at a real estate conference telling you guys about AI? So I think it's important that we do a couple introductions. Fantastic, should've used AI for this. So, quick introductions. Let me introduce you to Marc LaFleur. Boom, there we go, in all of his glory. That is Marc LaFleur. So needless to say, you probably could put two and two together. My high school career was a little bit rough. I struggled socially, probably because I was this little fat kid who just pretty much tried to call out everybody on the planet. I wore women's glasses. I also used to struggle academically as well. I was just pretty much one of those kids that didn't like being told what to learn or what to do. And believe it or not, that carried through into university as well. In university, I was very much a C's get degrees type of kid. And it wasn't until I got to the University of Waterloo that I even understood or realized what entrepreneurship was. And I became absolutely obsessed. It's because this is the first time in my life where not only could I be rewarded financially for breaking the rules, you're actually encouraged to do so. As a business owner and a founder, your job is to find new and innovative ways to do things that don't already exist. So I started obsessing over it. This is where I found my people. This is where I wanted to live. You know, I started fantasizing about the founders and all their amazing stories and the glory that comes with being a business owner and a successful entrepreneur. You know, really, it was just all the things that you think of. I wanted the materialistic things. I wanted the money. I wanted the success. I wanted the glory. I wanted to be him, that guy. What it's like to be a successful founder, all the good things. And I'm really lucky because this is obviously what led me to start True Local. But we captured this amazing image that really just sums up what it's like to be a founder. And I want to share it with you guys. This is it right here. So everybody here, you guys are successful, you guys are business owners, you understand what it's like to start a company. It's nothing like what they say on TV. It's pretty much just getting punched in the face every single day and somehow finding a way to get back up and move on. This was 2 years into the business. I don't think I've ever been lower in my life. We had no idea what was going on. Everything was on fire. And this pretty much sums up entrepreneurship. So, yeah. Luckily though, we decided to keep pushing forward, and as you guys know, the only way to find success is to get punched in the face a bunch of times and keep on going. And that's essentially what happened with True Local, and fortunately ended up being a happy ending. So True Local, you know, we ended up doing Dragon's Den. We were actually on the cover of the Globe and Mail for being Canada's 14th fastest growing company. You know, we were a whole operation. You know, we had 60 employees across the country. We were spending $200,000 a month just in Facebook. We were onboarding 80 to 100 influencers a month. Like, it was a whole thing that we had going. And it all culminated in a $16.7 million acquisition, which for a kid that was pretty much supposed to fail out of high school and everybody counted out, isn't too bad. So you're probably still wondering, what does any of this have to do with AI? Well, as the story continues, after I started looking back on my life, I had done all the things that I wanted to do. I'd become a millionaire at the age of 30. I had the successful business, but it really was a train wreck. For 5 years, I put all of myself, every single thing that I had, to prioritize this business, to prioritize chasing success and the money and all the things that come with it, and all the things that you would describe as a toxic founder lifestyle. So I decided that, look, maybe I should take a step back and just try to figure out what life is really about. Slow down a little bit. We did that thing for 5 years. Why don't we just take up a hobby that can try to zen me out and just kind of focus on, you know, once again, all the things that we lost over the past 5 years and just chill out. So, of course, I decided to pick up race car driving. You know what? It took about 6 months for me to realize, who am I kidding? I like this life. I really do. I like to white knuckle my way through life. I like chasing after things. I love it. I'm 33 at this point. Why not go do this? So when the company sold in 2020, I did a 3-year stint as a race car driver. So pretty much in my first year, we did 18 semi-pro races. We won 9 of them, won the championship, Rookie of the Year. that opened up the door to do 4 professional races in this bad boy, which is the Mercedes-AMG GT4, which is just as sick as it looks. And that ended up culminating in an absolute bucket list moment of my life where I got to sit on a panel with the GOAT himself, Lewis Hamilton. So, once again, what does this have to do with AI? Well, look, I got the racing out of my system. When I sold the company, I was on a contract for 2 years to help oversee the transition, which meant I couldn't start another company for 2 years, but now I had it in it's just what I felt. I was like, I did the $20 million thing, now I need to do the $100 million thing. Full 180 from deciding what I wanted to do after selling the company. But I decided that if I was going to do this, I had to go all in on something I truly believed in, and fortunately my contract ended at the end of 2022. Does anybody know what happened in November 2022? ChatGPT came out, absolutely. Now listen, I'm non-technical, so a lot of people like to talk about, hey, AI is going to change the world completely, and I do believe that, but I was just more blown away by what it was going to do from a productivity standpoint. So we started playing around with it immediately in November. We were playing with ChatGPT. In March, when the API came out, we started building AI products, and today I'm the CEO and founder of DB8 Labs. So DB8 Labs is a prompt engineering firm. I'm not going to bore you with what that is. Long story short, we come in and do custom AI projects for businesses and organizations. So let's say you're a business or an organization who's been using ChatGPT. Maybe some of your department has been building little GPTs, and you want something a little bit more, something more integrated, something more custom. We come in and build that. But more importantly, my whole life has become AI. All I do is try to read AI, research AI, try to follow what's going on in the space. We want to be some of the leaders in Canada when it comes to consumer AI. So fortunately, I get to give a lot of talks on AI, but I also listen to a lot of talks on AI. And there's something going on here. It is incredibly difficult to give an AI keynote. And the reason for that is that everybody is giving AI keynotes. You can't go anywhere anymore and not see somebody giving an AI keynote. If you go to the women's show down at the Entercare Center, I guarantee there'll be a person on stage there talking about AI. So for me, it's important. Like when I get on stage, I want to leave you guys with something that's a little bit different. So I try to look around and see what's going on in the space and see what people are talking about. And one thing I did notice that was interesting is that even though everybody is talking about AI, and everybody has been doing AI talk, there's still not a lot of adoption. So we're seeing AI everywhere, but we're not using it. So I started thinking, well, why is that happening? And I actually think what's happening is that everybody is focusing on how I should use AI. And normally with technology, that is what you want. Because technology is intimidating, you don't know how to use it, you got to figure it out. But that's not the case with AI. In fact, I just gave a talk called The Great Equalizer, where I talked about how AI is the great equalizer for real estate because of how easy it is to use. There's no intimidation factor. It's literally a chat bar. Like you talk to the damn thing. There is no how with AI. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to flip the script here a little bit. I want to focus more on why you should use AI, which I think is very on theme for the talk from yesterday. So before I dive into why you should use AI, I got to tell you guys a story. Okay, now I'm excited to tell you guys a story. It's a true local story. And the reason I'm excited to tell you this is because I've never actually told this one on stage before. So whenever I talk about True Local, people are always asking what made True Local successful. And as successful owners here yourself, you know that there is no one single thing, there's no silver bullet that makes your business successful, okay? It's pretty much just trying 1,000 different things over and over and over again, figuring out what works, doubling down on that till it doesn't work anymore, and then trying it all over again for a long period of time. Now, the only thing that makes that question a little bit easier is if you narrow down to a specific action or a time frame. So I can't tell you what made True Local successful overall, but I can tell you what made True Local successful in year one. So the story of True Local goes, essentially, I was doing door-to-door meat sales. Product was great, business model sucked. So I went to the owners one day and I was like, hey guys, listen, we don't have a website, we don't have social media, we don't have a brand, we don't have a logo. Why don't we take this business and bring it online? So of course I'm telling this to them, and they're laughing. They're like, that's never gonna work. We've been doing the same thing for 14 years. So half joking, half serious, I was like, well, if you guys don't do it, I'm gonna go do it. And they dead ass looked me in the eye and laughed me out of the room. So of course I took that personally. 2 weeks later, I quit my job. 2 weeks later, we started True Local. All right, now that sounds cool, but we had no idea what we were doing, like at all. We were completely lost. We had no money, we had no resources, no experience. But one thing I did know was that I wanted to use social media. It was like 2015 at the time, And there weren't a ton of businesses on social media, but it's where I used to hang out, 25, just finished university. So I had this understanding that you could connect with people there. So that's what we did. Our entire first year of True Local, we just spent all of our time on social media, partly because it was all that we knew, but also because it was free. So everything we did, we would post, and it ended up being a fantastic way to connect with people and show them what we were doing, and it ended up working, to be quite honest. And the thing is, even though we were early in believing that social media was going to be a huge opportunity for business, we were perfectly positioned a year later in 2016 when the social media rush came in. In 2016, consumers realized that they wanted to shop with brands that were online. But it wasn't just consumers, it was also all of our competitors. All the people in the space realized, oh shit, this social media thing is relevant, maybe we should get in on it. But the thing that happened was that we realized two things. Number one, not only were we perfectly positioned, because we got in a year early, not only were we perfectly positioned for when that wave came crashing down, we were there to scoop it all up when people were looking for these types of businesses. But number two, when the wave came, we knew how to surf. We had been playing around with social media for a year. We had a 1-year head start. We had the intuition. We made a bunch of failures. We saw what was working and what wasn't. So here's what I will tell you. When I left the company that I was working for, they were doing $14 million a year. It took them 14 years to get to $14 million a year. It took True Local 4 years to get to $14 million. And without going into the details, what I'll tell you is that in Ontario, there's not enough space for two $15 million online meat companies. All right? Their fatal flaw wasn't just the fact that by the time social media became relevant, they were reacting. Every single thing they wanted to do when they saw, oh my God, this company's getting success online, we need to get into social media, it was all mimicking, it was all copying, it was all reacting. They didn't have that intuition on how to be successful online. So their fatal flaw literally wasn't even that they didn't decide to use social media. Of course, everyone's using social media now. It's that they gave us a 1-year head start. And it cost them their business. So I don't want to focus on the how I should use AI. AI is so easy. Like I said, it's a chat bar. In fact, you can Google how to use AI. You can YouTube how to use AI. You can chat GPT how to use AI. All right? What's more important is focusing on why I should use AI. And why you need to use AI is because I'm seeing it everywhere now, but the same way that in 2015, businesses looked at social media as a toy, as a plaything. It's not really picking up. We don't know how to use it. We're going to wait and see. I'm seeing a whole lot of that happening in real estate in 2024 with AI. And if I'm being quite honest, you're all successful top performers here. Businesses are at risk. I can talk to you guys like this. I can tell you guys the truth. This is massively disruptive. I told myself I wasn't going to say disruptive, but I had to use it at least once. So why don't we go through a couple examples here, okay? So I'm going to walk you through some really simple examples of what's going on. And these are things that are absolutely happening today, right now. So let's just continue on the train of social media. Everyone here knows social media. I just want to do a quick little level set. So when we talk about social media, the most important thing to understand is the algorithm has changed. So when things started, what used to happen is that you'd be in a situation where you had a social graph. The posts would be distributed based on who you were following and who was following you. So it was a social algorithm. But TikTok came around and started eating everybody's lunch because they were doing an interest-based graph, which means that it doesn't matter who you're following. All that matters is if you're putting content that's interesting to people. Okay? So it's an interest-based algorithm. Well, TikTok came around, now Instagram is doing the same thing. And the reason I'm telling you this is because it puts so much more emphasis on the Explore page. So you all know the Explore page. It's super straightforward. You know, you go online and you see your typical videos. You tell yourself you're not going to look at your phone in the morning, but you do, and then you start doom scrolling. And then you got your little cat and dog videos. You know, you got your houses. You've got your, there we go. You've got your houses. You've got your cars, travel, all that fun stuff. But here's what's happening, and it's happening today. So as you're going through this, you know, we all know the importance of social media to help be a thought leader in your local area. But one thing you start noticing on your Explore page is one day you go on and you start seeing this new agent or this new social media page. And what you start noticing is that they're popping up more and more and more. And we'll go ahead and call them listed and gone. This new page showed up, listed and gone. Who is this? And what you realize is that they're in your local area, in your space, and now your entire Explore page is filled with this posts from listed and gone. And you're probably thinking, nah, I've seen AI, I know what it can and can't do on social media, it can't do this, but I'll tell you, it can. Because now you start looking at these posts and you start seeing, oh my God, this is fantastic messaging. It's hyper-specific to who I am, it's talking to my niche. And they're going directly after your market. And where it takes a lot of agents a week to make one post, these individuals are posting every single day, if not multiple times per day. All right, so that's just one really basic example. Social media, it's a great way to get discovered, but let's move over to search. So we look at Google. So we all know how Google works, it's pretty straightforward. Google is based on SEO, search engine optimization. I'm not gonna bore you with this. Long story short, all it really means is, does your stuff show up when people are searching for things? The more things you show up for, the better you're off in terms of collecting leads. In fact, I always like to say this, I do think one of the biggest areas and opportunities for real estate agents is blog writing and LinkedIn, but we'll save that for another time. So the whole idea of being good on SEO is write a lot of content that shows up for a lot of search terms. Very, very basic. So this is usually what it looks like right now. You go in there and you type in your search term. Let's say best neighborhoods to buy a house in Vaughan, and what you're gonna end up with is your usual suspects on your search page. So what you end up with is, you know, your big players, the ones that have a lot of domain authority, they're big websites, and maybe you see a couple competitors in your market, and maybe a couple of your posts are up there as well, all right? But of course, what you start to realize is, oh my God, day by day, week by week, month by month, more of these search terms are being replaced with these guys over at Listed and Gone. I hate these guys. They're showing up everywhere, okay? And you're wondering, how is this possible? How is it, what's going on right now? I thought Google could figure out if it was AI content or not. I didn't think this was possible. I didn't think it was doable. Excuses as to why you're not using it. But the reality is you start looking at these posts and they're fantastic. They're hyper-specific, they're really relevant to the search term, and they add a ton of value. And once again, I see people doing this right now across the board, showing up on search results just by using AI. They've never written a blog in their life. In fact, they might be paying $500 a month to have, you know, somebody write 4 blogs for them, but with using AI, you've got someone writing 100 blogs a month that are better than a human, and they're costing $1. So okay, that's search, whatever. Let's move on, let's go to something else. Search in Google. Well, what's the final part of this, right? You get discovered on social media, somebody looks to validate you on Google. Well, next thing is they land on the page, and we have to have a lead capture. Now, I think a lot of real estate agents struggle with lead captures because I go to a lot of these pages, and what I see is, hey, leave me your number and I'll call you back. Or hey, give me your phone number, I'll send you something exclusive. The lead capture is incredibly important, right? Why does somebody want to leave their information with you? And if you have all this traffic going to your website, what's the point if you're not capturing that information so you can follow up? But the only way to capture information is to give people something they want. Well, how do you do that? You gotta figure out who you're talking to. That's the value of the niche. And it's very difficult to come up with a very specific message for a niche because we have to put ourselves in those person's shoes. And everybody here is successful. It's hard to relate to everybody. It's hard to relate with your individual avatar. But of course, with AI, it's so simple, right? So you click on a blog, you land on this page, and next thing you know, AI comes up with something like this. So look, we're talking about the general individual who is looking to buy a home in Vaughan. They're moving into Vaughan. Okay, well, why not come up with a strategy like the keys to the city? So you call all the local businesses around and you list all the gyms and cafes and all the bars and restaurants, whatever it is. You call them up and say, hey, can all of you guys give me a 25% discount code? I'll put you in this list that's the keys to the city. So that way when someone lands on your website, you can offer them the keys to the city. Welcome to your new home. This is really relevant to someone who's moving into Vaughan. Why wouldn't they want that? Now the thing is that I see a lot of teams and agents that'll do these like weekend retreats to go figure out who their niche or their avatar or their ICP or their ideal customer is. 1 week or a weekend to come up with like your Bob, Sally, and Brian, your ideal clients. Well, now you're doing this in literally a minute using AI, but let's keep going. So you go back to another page, same website, Listed and Gone, but you clicked on a different blog, one that's targeted for luxury real estate agents, and now what you've got here is Welcome to Vaughan's Inner Circle, a lead capture specifically for people that are into luxury things. And what about this next one? You go to another blog post, and you've got a completely different lead capture, all generated by AI, because once again, maybe you're not an investor, but you service investors. And what do investors want? Well, investors don't want the keys to the city. They want introduction to bankers. They want introductions to financial professionals. They want introductions to contractors. So you've called up and put this list together to make these introductions because it's a great lead capture. Maybe you've got a WhatsApp group for some of your other investor clients. These are things that these types of individuals want. You go to the next one. I don't have kids myself, but a lot of new families are looking to move to Vaughan. Well, one of the biggest things, at least according to ChatGPT, that families moving to new cities struggle with is daycare. So why not call all the different daycare locations around, make quick introductions, so that way when people land on your page, you can offer to make these introductions for them. Long story short, it's just a really amazing way that you can use AI for something really, really quick, and these are all things that people think that is really difficult to do. So there's a point to this. So you can keep going. Once again, we go through these different lead captures. So why should I use AI? Well, look, the truth is that you guys are in a scenario right now where it'll take somebody, I swear, if you had no technical experience and you had no background whatsoever in AI, you could probably take one day to do all of these things. There are a million different tools, and ChatGPT is out there to help you guys get your social media strategy so people can discover you better. There are a million different ways and tools that you can use ChatGPT to help you with your blog writing. And there's a million different ways you can get them to do your lead captures for you, and I promise you, like I said, you can do all this in one day with no experience. So here's the truth, okay? Why you should use AI is, pause for dramatic effect here, because you will die if you don't. Okay? So listen, I'm being super dramatic. I was very 50-50 about leaving the slide in, but then I realized who I was talking to, and the truth is that if you guys are like me, you're business owners, you're top tier business owners, you're entrepreneurs, your business is your baby. Okay? And I know that the most stressful times of my life were when my business was at risk. And the truth is, right now, I truly would have felt that if there was this disruptive force coming around, I felt like I would have died. Like, I really would have felt like, oh my God, my business is at risk. I put everything, my blood, sweat, and tears into this. Okay? So super dramatic. However, a lot of you here are in that same boat where your business is everything. All right? So I want you to keep that in mind, because right now, it is that easy. And right now, it's not just about, are you going to use AI? That's absolutely going to happen. No questions asked. You don't have a choice. I promise you, in 2 years, every single person here is going to be using AI. Doesn't matter if back in the day people were reluctant to trade in their beeper for their iPhones. Everyone's got an iPhone now. AI is here and coming, but the truth is that even if you give them a 1-year head start, if you wait for 1 year to get in until it makes more sense and it's more normal, your business is at risk. So that's why you should use AI. Okay? Now listen, it's not all stick. I've got the carrot too. I started thinking about this a little bit more. Like, why aren't people adopting AI? Like, once we understand why you should use AI, what's still going on, what can I leave you with? And what I realize is that there's 2 main concepts, in my opinion, that if you can shift these perspectives, you will have a way better chance of actually using and adopting AI. So number 1 is, people believe that AI should do all of my work for me. I see this all the time. This is the one that drives me crazy, to be quite honest. So you show someone ChatGPT, and it writes this fantastic blog post, social media post, market report. It fills out a table for you perfectly. But there's one error. Maybe it didn't sound exactly the way that you want. Or maybe, excuse me, one of the cells aren't filled out properly. And what I see a lot is people throw it away. Oh, AI sucks. This is the worst. And it drives me crazy, because that is the laziest mentality I've ever heard in my life. Because you're telling me right now that this thing can do 80% of your work for you. But because there was one issue, instead of going in there and figuring out what you did wrong or getting better at it, you think it's useless, you think it's no good. That's a loser's mentality. If I told you 5 years ago that you could get 80% of your work done for you, you would throw tens of thousands of dollars to anybody who said they could do that. So this is an incredibly limiting belief, is AI should do all of my work for me, because you're never going to get started. You're going to wait till you see the perfect demo before you decide, oh, maybe I'm going to give it a shot. Okay? So number 1 is, if you can reframe from AI should do all of my work for me to AI should do the 20% of the work I hate the most, that's where you start to win. And once again, everybody here is a winner. The reason I said that the loser's mentality is do all of my work for me, the winner's mentality, you know the value of 5% of your time. If I could give you 5% of your time back, busy people know the value of time. If I give you 5% of your time back, you know what that does for you. So find the things you hate the most, find the top 20%, and expect AI to do that. And that is a great starting point to start using AI today. Number 2 is this idea that I have to understand AI to use AI. And the truth is on this, if that is your mentality, it's a little bit of a circle jerk, Because essentially all you're doing is listening to all these podcasts, going to all these Zoom calls, and you're listening and you're digesting and you're making yourself feel good because you're learning. And the excuse as to why you're not actually going and using AI is because you don't fully understand it yet. If I fully understand it, then I'm going to start to use it. But what does that mean? It means you're never going to try anything because you're not going to fully understand it. So it's literally a limiting belief as to why you're not using AI. If you change this one from I have to understand AI to use AI and switch it to, drum roll, I have to be curious about AI, this will fundamentally change and the approach that you have to using this. Because think about it for a second. I have to be curious about AI. Ooh, what's that tool do? I'm gonna give that a shot. And what ends up happening is you try everything. You figure out what's good and what sucks. You try one tool, you figure out what it does, you put it down, you go to the next tool, figure out what it does, put it down, go to the next one, figure out what it does. And what you start to do is build an intuition of what AI can and can't do. You build an intuition on what you can expect from AI. And if you're curious about AI, you will figure out and decide, wow, this is interesting. Can it do this? Can it do that? And you start playing around more and more with ChatGPT. So these two things alone will dramatically change the way that you look at AI, and it'll switch it from I love to learn about how to use AI and I love to think about it, and it'll actually make it so you start using it. Because AI, at the end of the day, like I said, this whole idea of it being the great equalizer for real estate 100% stems based on the fact that this is the easiest technology you will ever use. This is the one fundamental change that has happened with AI compared to anything else. All these previous technologies, whether it's video platforms, social media, it doesn't matter, whatever CRM you have, you've actually got to learn how to use it. What do you click? Where do you go? How does it work? All these different interfaces that are intimidating to people. But AI, doesn't matter what AI tool you're using or if it's ChatGPT, it is a chat bar. Get good at speaking English and you can have a fantastic experience and great results using ChatGPT or any other of these AI tools. Okay? So, one thing I want to quickly go over with you guys, I wasn't going to put this in as well, but this has been hands down one of the slides that I've put into all my presentations. I get the best feedback. I'll give you guys a little bit of how on how to do AI. Because you listen to me talk for as to why you should be using AI, I hope you guys will take action on it, but here's a little bit of a how on how to use AI, okay? So, this is a very basic level 1 prompting cheat sheet. If you guys use some of these tips and tricks and tactics, you will be good at level 1 prompting, okay? So, the whole idea here is you've probably heard this before many a times. I'm gonna really skim through this. I love that all the phones are out. I probably should have told you this before. There's a QR code coming up where I'm gonna send this to you guys, all right? So, I'll give it another minute and then I'll go ahead and flip to that. And I'll let you guys download this. I do like a full video walkthrough on this as well, so we'll go more in depth because I could spend an entire hour diving through this with you guys. But once again, just the main thing to understand, the main takeaway here, there is 18 different things that you could consider when you're writing a prompt. First of all, do not feel like you have to do all 18 of these things. Take like 2 to 3 of them, okay? And consider them when you're prompting. But at the end of the day, the most important thing to understand, it's like I said before, this is a chat bar. If you can speak good English, you can get fantastic prompts. You need to talk to this thing like it is 5 years old. Okay, straight up. Tell it exactly what you want it to do, why you want to do it. Some of the things we talk about here, I'm sure you might have heard of this before, but make sure you establish a role. If you want it to do some data stuff for you or do market research, tell it it's some sort of analyst. If you want it to do social media content, tell it's a professional social media writer or copywriter. Right? Another big one here is going to be things like going through and setting a goal. A goal is different than the task. The goal is why you're doing the thing, not what I want you to do. You can establish things like that. You can go through here and put in context, who you are, what you're doing, who's your niche, who's your audience, all these types of things. Okay? You can go in here and do training. This is the one that everybody stumbles on, to be quite honest, so I will talk about this. The training is really important because the training is, let's say I want you to write viral Facebook posts. And you're like, make sure they're really viral. Okay, fair enough. I know that you think that ChatGPT knows what that means, and deep down it does. But the truth is, ChatGPT has been trained on the entirety of the internet. All of these models have. So when it comes to writing viral Facebook posts, not only is there contradicting information on how to do it, it's like 99.999999999% of the content and the stuff that's been trained on is irrelevant. So instead, teach it what makes a viral Facebook post. Tell it, treat it like a 5-year-old. What makes a great job? How do you do the job well? How do you make a viral Facebook post? Give it the description. And here's the big win. I used to give this to people who are like, well, I don't know the whole point of using ChatGPT because I don't know how to do the training. Guess what? What should you do to figure out what to tell ChatGPT on what makes a fantastic viral Facebook post? Ask ChatGPT. I love it. Okay, great. So look, guys, I'm gonna put this up real quick. Take out your phones, give this a scan. You're gonna get this in your inbox. I do a 15-minute walkthrough of going through this in depth because, like I said, I could literally geek out on this stuff forever. My hope, this is completely free, my hope is that you guys just learn a little bit more about AI. It's literally just an outlet for me to just blabber on for a little bit longer about prompting and my thoughts around it. I know that the scanning code has not been working. So if you guys want, if there's an issue, I know it's going in the app, so make sure you guys have that. And then also if you want, just add me on Instagram. It's darkmark_, nice little relic from the high school days. So add me on Instagram, send me a DM, and I am happy to send this to you. So listen, please, thank you guys so much for having me here. You have a packed day. I hope this was helpful for you guys, and I hope it's given you a reason as to why you should adopt AI today and not wait 1 year. Thank you.